All right. Is my hair good? Oh, it's just audio. It's just audio. All right. Does it sound good? Does the hair sound good? All right then.
Episode loading. Play. You are listening to Freshly Squeezed.
We never stopped. We never did, and we were constantly learning. And first day we got there, it was like, David, that's Damon Albarn's synth. That's Rihanna's chair.
Apple.
Hello and welcome to your weekly dose of new music. Hopefully you've come looking for some of the best new music in and out of the UK, because that's what you've got over the next few minutes. I'm Jim, this is Freshly Squeezed, the new music podcast, and there are some belters lined up on today's show, including Yorkshire punk pop band Deadb3at. We're going to hear more of their brand new tune, Messed Up. Today we feature the awesome San Diego band Almost Monday, and we'll hear their new tune Can't Slow Down off their latest album. And get this is big, this is significant. In fact, kill the music, make this sound as grand as possible, because there is an exclusive on today's Freshly Squeezed. I'm going to be joined by the Cavs, and they're going to be doing an exclusive stripped-back session version of their new tune, Headshot. That is worth hanging around for. But before we do that, we need to talk to Red Room, and we're going to talk to them about their new tune. That is called Nowadays. But before you hear that, we're going to chat to Jess from the band. Jess, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. That's it, though. That's enough with the niceties for now. I'm afraid we're going to have to start today's podcast on a very serious note, because I need some answers.
Okay.
I think you've been having everyone on, so I'm going to have to call you out on this, and I want you to come clean on Freshly Squeezed before we get into chatting about the music.
Yeah.
So, in some interviews, I've read the band touted as proudly being from Newcastle. And in other interviews, I've read the band as proudly coming from Greater Manchester. And it seems to depend on where the podcast is based, or where the website is based, or where the magazine is based, wherever. So which is it? It can't be both. Is it Newcastle or is it Manchester?
Right, okay, here's the truth.
Give me the truth.
We are all from Newcastle. We formed in Newcastle. We all met at school about 6 years ago. And 3 years ago, I stood in a practice room and asked all of the lads to move with me to Manchester. And they all blindly followed. So wow. We are from Newcastle, born and bred. But yeah, kind of, we wanted to break another city in a way. But we'd done Newcastle, we'd done every venue, we'd kind of, completed it in our own little way. So we are from Newcastle, proud of that. But we are currently based in Manchester and in and around the local music scene here.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's a pretty big call to make, though, to kind of abandon your roots, abandon your family and your friends. And was that purely on the strength of a belief from you and the band that this was it, that this was going to work? Yeah,
absolutely. I've always been like such a kind of all in kind of a person. For me, if you don't go absolutely all in whatever way you can, then you're not going to see the results that you want. And we all had this belief, whatever, it was, and that the music was going to work. And I was just like, you know what, we've not got any solid plans in Newcastle. Let's just all move to another city and do what we've done here somewhere else.
I really love that. And are there any regrets, or any of the boys kind of going, I'm missing the Tyne Bridge, or whatever it is they loved about the Newcastle area?
Absolutely not. Like we go back quite a lot, and because we made a lot of good relationships in terms of industry wise in Newcastle, we go back a lot. We're going back this week actually for a gig. So it's not like, we've burnt any bridges there. No, we love Manchester, and it's still a challenge for us to get on top of the city in a way.
Love it. Right, I'm going to put you to the test, though. Which do you love more, Newcastle or Manchester? Some simple questions, and I want simple answers to this.
Okay.
Chicken parmo or pie barm?
Oh, chicken parmo.
Nuki Brown or Boddingtons?
Oh, Nuki Brown.
Sam Fender or Oasis?
Sam Fender.
There you go. You can take the girl out of Newcastle, but you can't take Newcastle out of the girl.
Yeah, clearly.
Well, I'm glad you said Sam Fender for that last one, because I understand you've actually got to sing with Sam Fender on stage at some point. What was the story there?
Yes, so it was about five, or coming up to 5 years ago now. Yeah, it was 2020. Basically, it was in that weird kind of COVID period where gigs had been rescheduled and pushed back and whatever. And he was headlining at like the O2 kind of venues, about your 2-3 thousand cap. But by the time that the gig had come round, he was like selling out arenas. So it was a bit of a mad run for him because he was actually playing venues that he was arguably, way bigger than. So yeah, me and Charlie, who is the drummer in the Red Room, we went to go and see him. And like I said before, I'm kind of an all-in person. So I just came along with a little sign that just said, "Let me sing Saturday with you." Got on someone's shoulders because I knew the set list. Back then, I was like a proper fangirl. Not that I'm not anymore, but I was really in my kind of fangirl phase of him at the time. So yeah, I knew the set list and I knew which song was before Saturday. So I got on someone's shoulders for the entirety of the song before. He spotted me at the end of the song, and so did the rest of the crowd. And I think it was the crowd that convinced him, really, because I saw him look at the sign a couple of times and ignore it. And I was like, this isn't going to happen. But then everyone was kind of like, "Get her up, get her up." And I just remember he looked at me and he was like, "Are you any good?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm fucking class, mate." And yeah, he got me up and I sang Saturday with him, and it was absolutely wild. Yeah.
That's amazing. I always thought those things were prearranged because the people that come on stage are always good. They always know if they're playing guitar, they know the guitar part perfectly. If they're singing, they're absolutely got cracking voice. So it is genuinely organic.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? That was kind of people's response, especially immediately after the gig. So many people were coming up to me and going, "So that was planned," or like, "How do you know him?" and stuff. And I was like, "Nah, I didn't at all." And I remember he said to me, I spoke to him a couple of days after, I met him a couple of days after. He'd never done that before. He'd never gotten anyone on stage because of the worry that they'd be bad, because nobody wants to be put in that situation, and not that they'd be bad, but that they'd just mess up, or you're in front of like 3,000 people.
Yeah.
It's a high state situation. So yeah, no, it wasn't planned at all. And like I said, I didn't have any fear that I'd make a mistake, to be honest.
Right, well, let's talk about your music. New EP, Limited Space. It's a really unique record, this, particularly in the current scene. I think it's kind of bluesy and jazzy. There's a touch of indie in there. It reminds me of bands like Morcheeba, kind of in the 90s and noughties. Musically, what were your touch points on this record?
So in terms of like the writing process, like in the band, there are so many different influences. We all listen to such different music, which is why I think it's kind of got this genre bending feel to it. Like I grew up as a little musical theatre girl. I'm into a lot of different music in terms of R&B and soul and jazz, but I'm also into like artists like Rufus Wainwright and these kind of grandiose, dramatic pieces. And you can hear that in the songwriting for sure on my end. But then you've also got influences like our keyboard player is really into like 80s pop, like Hall and Oates and those kind of artists. And then our guitarists and drummers into like your classic rock. And we're all into a bit of jazz and soul. And you can really hear like the combination of different influences in this record, especially throughout, all of the different the instrumentation that we've used as well. Yeah. So it's just like a mishmash, really. And we don't think too deeply into making it sound specific to one genre, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I really like that about it. And it also feels like a really personal EP. And I might be projecting onto this because obviously I don't know what's inspired it. And I'm just, what I can hear in the lyrics, it feels very personal. It feels very relationship inspired in terms of the stories you're telling. Is that your experience that's driving that?
Yes, it is. Yeah. I mean, I wrote each song lyrically and musically, I wanted to create the narrative of a journey, and liminal space is obviously this kind of transitional period of being stuck in limbo and not really knowing where you are. And that is in relationships and in life in general, kind of, I'm 21 years old and I started writing this EP when I was 19. So over the last 2 years, I've been through so many different transitions, and it's definitely a formative age that I'm in. So yeah, I wanted to kind of create that emotion, but in terms of the band and writing as a band, they really don't think about it emotionally, which is again what I think makes the music so special. They just service the songs musically, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like all of that emotion and those personal stories come from my experiences, but then in order to create this bigger picture, they kind of just follow their thoughts and their feelings in terms of the music. So yeah.
Okay, so I've got the EP here, 5 tracks to go at. I'm going to let you choose what we play from it. Which is your favourite on the EP?
Oh, they're all so good, but
They're all
I'd
your
say
babies, they're all your kids. You can't
they
pick
are,
them.
yeah, they're all so good and so different as well. But I would say Nowadays is probably the one that I'd push forward.
Nice one. Let's get it on. Jess, pleasure to speak to you. The Red Room are a new one for me and really into what you're doing. So thank you very much for joining me on Freshly Squeezed.
Thank you so much.
Nowadays I'm not the same. My head is getting heavier. Or maybe shoulders aren't as strong as when I got ahead of myself. Nowadays I find myself looking at the ground. I used to look around. I used to feel the sound. I find it hard to lose myself now. I've searched so hard and I'm not quite sure what I found. I find it hard to lose myself now. I search so hard and I'm not quite sure what I found. Nowadays I'm not the same. The city feels so strange to me. Nowadays I feel so brave before I spoke out willingly. Made a choice you won't.
I interrupt that song as I have some very important and urgent breaking news. News of a fresh new bop from sweet San Diego. Dawson Docherty, Cole Clisby, and Luke Fabry are otherwise known as Almost Monday. Which is strange because I thought we just had Monday. Someone needs to get a watch or calendar, some sort. Maybe it's a daylight savings time. That old chestnut. Gotta wind it forward with a little clock pin. You know, the little mechanical wind-up clock pin for your clock for setting the time forward an hour for the summertime. Anyway, their new tune is Can't Slow Down, which is what I said to a young lady I met in a bar last night. The new song features on their long-playing record album Dive, which is also what I said to a young... Never mind, Submariners. Anyway, our reporter for Channel 9 News, Jim Salveson, has more.
Thank you very much. As you said, I'm here with the San Diego band Almost Monday. Gents, thank you for joining me.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having us.
I think you're in the middle of the UK somewhere at the moment because you're on tour. How is Blighty treating you? How's the UK going?
UK is going well. We're all fighting a bit of a cold, but it seems to be in step, kind of wintry months in the UK. It's quite fitting. But I will say that the shows have been really great. So that's always, been a highlight. So it makes all of it worth it.
That's the main thing. One of the delights I think about being in any country, wherever you are around the world, is kind of the culinary discoveries. Is there anything that you found about UK cuisine being over here that's kind of just blown your mind, either in a good way or a bad way?
Oh, we've had great food here. Unfortunately, this time around, I actually just got food poisoning.
Oh, no.
So that's been the bad
Fish and chips.
way. Yeah. I've been recovering from some food poisoning the last few days. But other than that, we've had good Indian food with dishoom. We have had the Nando, We've had some great food.
Yeah, love a bit of dishoom. So talking about the tour and the live shows, I've heard that in the past at your live shows, one of the things you like to do is just kind of whip out a Polaroid camera and take snaps of the audience whilst you're on stage. Is that something you've been doing, something you've been continuing during these gigs?
Yeah, we've been doing that for a while now. I think a couple of years at this point. But yeah, it's cool to have a little memory from every show, and then we've just been stockpiling them all so you can kind of look back at each tour and just see all the crowds we've played for. It's been pretty cool to see that.
Is there some kind of grand plan as to what you're going to do with them at some point? Is it going to be like a coffee table book? Are they going to be used in a video or a documentary or something like that? Do you have an idea?
Who knows? Show the grandkids one day. it's crazy. You play so many shows, you move so fast. Like it's good just to remember like each moment, and you can really like look into the details of people's faces and seeing people have a good time. It brings you right back to the moment.
Do you lay them out and kind of try and spot the same people in each of the pictures and see, like, oh, he's been to 10 gigs, he's been to 4 gigs?
Yeah, you definitely notice that sometimes, which is cool. But yeah, it would be cool to do something with them one day. Somebody recently had mentioned something like a coffee table book or some type of like photo thing. I've just been storing them at my house. We definitely like lose some, so we don't have like everyone. But you know, maybe in a couple years when we just have a ton of them, we'll just have to do something with them.
So the new album, Dive, is out now. The tunes on it, I think, are just like full of sunshine, proper summer vibes, beer and barbecue stuff. When you make music that's primarily like that and you've got that in your locker, do you find yourself just kind of sitting on it a little bit and planning the releases around when the weather is getting better and you think the kind of tunes are going to match people's vibes?
A little bit. I mean, we've definitely had that thought before, like, oh, it's like put, you know, our record out like right before the summer or something like that. It never ends up working out because there's always some like logistic thing where it's got to get pushed back or something. But we ended up putting our record out in the fall of last year. But no, it's fun. It's funny you mentioned that because it's actually something we definitely have thought about for sure. But
it's kind of funny when you're playing like sunny music in a really rainy place. It's kind of it's a cool juxtaposition to people singing, you know, sun keeps on shining, and it's like, you know, freezing and pouring outside like today. But it's cool.
Like I say, I love everything on the album. I think it's got a really nice vibe to it. It's an absolute pleasure to speak with you. Good luck with the rest of the tour. Good luck with the food poisoning as well. Get some Imodium into you and plenty of fluids as well.
yeah, thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the time here, and thanks very much for joining me on Freshly Squeezed.
Cheers.
Sweet, thanks.
That's it from me, Jim Salverson, on location for Freshly Squeezed with Almost Monday. Now back to the studio.
Thank you, Jim. So let's hear that new tune from Almost Monday. Turn up the volume and lean in with your earlobes. This is Can't Slow Down. And remember, stay freshly squeezed, San Diego.
Let's just pretend this night won't end. The lights are flashing like the beat of your heart. I see a world in outer space. We spiral up and now we're standing on the stars. To the moon, she's riding on a burning light. She doesn't worry if it's wrong or right. Don't stop the speeding our way through the night. I don't know if I'm gonna keep up. She said I can't slow down if I wanted to. Yeah, the speaker so loud, it's spinning round the room, and I don't know where I'm going, but I gotta move. She said, boy, boy, are you coming too? And no, she can't slow down if she wanted to. Yeah, the speaker so loud, it's spinning round the room, and I don't know where I'm going, but I gotta move. She said, boy, boy, are you coming too?
Can't Slow Down from Almost Monday. Top tune that. Really like that band. Debut album's worth checking out as well. But first, we need to go and check out the Cavs. They're up in their rehearsal studio, which is just through this door, apparently. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yes, mate.
Just here to see the Cavs, please.
They're just upstairs in the studio.
Floor 3.
Yeah,
Cool.
3rd floor.
Can I use the elevator?
Yeah, why not? Save your energy.
Going up. Floor 3.
Here we are. I think it's in here. Hello. You right, boys? How we doing?
Good, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Talk me through the location. So you're in your practice space. Where is it? What's it like? What have you got going on in there?
It's in Costa del Salford.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, it's just basically an abandoned mill. The lads who sort of built it sort of did it on their own. It's made out of like pallets and plywood, basically. So it's no, it's really good. But they used to have the old Brunswick Mill. I don't know if you ever went, Jim, in on Bradford Road in Ancoats, but that basically we want to make flats out of that. So we luckily got in early and we got a space here.
Important question. Is there a mini fridge? And if there is, what's in it?
There isn't a mini fridge.
There's a microwave.
Okay.
That's got a lot of germs and mold in it. So
They turn the breakers off at night time, so everything would go from if you leave ham sandwich in there.
There's a
it's
few
not
cans of Stella next to my ham, actually, from last weekend, but apart from that...
I wouldn't bug them in the microwave. I think that would be a poor choice.
Stella soup.
Yeah. Well, we're going to hear the product of that space in a little bit because you're going to play us a stripped back version of your brand new tune in a bit. But first, let's talk about the music. I know as a band, you kind of all get involved in writing the music. Each of you kind of brings stuff to the table in that regard. How does that work if all 5 of you have kind of got slightly different writing styles or slightly different vibes going on? How do you keep it Cavs?
I don't know. It's worked well. It's taken us a while to get to that. Well, it's been 5 years now where we've all been together, but it's taken us a while just to. It depends. So, like, say with Arthur, this new tune, Headshot. Arthur's did that himself, but because he basically writes all the parts himself, he still lets us. There's no egos in the sense of you've got to play that, but he writes all these parts for his tunes. So it's like we've got a bass to go off there. He writes all sorts of different stuff. So sometimes I forget that's not very Cavs, so we just don't use that one, and he'll have that for his solo projects or. Say like with me or whatever, because I was the rhythm guitarist at the end of the day. I'll come with a load of chords and the words, and then we'll make it into Cavs that way. But I think because there's so much freedom with the tunes anyway to sort of make it your own. I think that's kind of what the Cavs has become now. Everyone's different bits, and it's like it's not a case of one person rules the roost.
I think as well because, like we're saying, we've been together so long, spent so much time with each other, and we are really good friends. Like, we're not just in a band together. Like, we're able to say to each other, "Oh, less of that," or "more of that," or whatever. And nobody really takes it to heart. It's like it's what's best for the track, if you know what I mean. So it's quite a nice creative space we have.
Like I say, I think everything that you write sounds like you. Well, I guess it would, but like it sounds like it's all from the same brain. When you listen back to that stuff, can you hear it? Do you kind of listen to Headshot and go, "Oh yeah, that's classic Arthur"?
I think so. Yeah. If I just take from my personally for me, but Arthur's like so good at like the musicality side and something flowing together, whereas I'll just shove a load of chords together and go, "Hey, we'll try and make something out of that." Do you know what I mean? There's a lot more. You can tell where the sophistication is, I think, in different tracks compared to maybe others, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a better tune or a worse tune. It's just it's using different bits of the music to whoever that person is. You know what I mean? So yeah, we can. If you guys can, that's great.
Yeah.
And not just because it's by Arthur, so it's got like a 5-minute drum solo just banged in the middle of it or anything like that.
Yeah, no, he's managed to keep them out, to be fair. But if they ever do creep in, I'm sure we'll tell him.
Yeah.
So Headshot is the second track from the new EP. Really cool that you've worked with Tim Thomas on this one at Blueprint, which Blueprint's not only an iconic studio, home of Elbow for many years, but Tim comes with a pretty decent CV too. What's he brought to the table on this one?
So I'd say he's taught us a massive amount. We thought we was at a decent level of knowledge of recording and in the industry to our level, and he's just kind of pulled the wool from front of our eyes and kind of like, yeah, it just took us down a proper musical journey, which is why we were quite quiet on social media and releasing for a long period of time. But it was because we were kind of behind the scenes with Tim. We never stopped. It might have seemed like we had done on socials, but we never did, and we were constantly learning. And like I say about his CV, first day we got there, it was like, that's Damon Albarn's synth, that's Rihanna's chair.
The main thing is he slowed us down, I think, which is it's dead easy, and this goes for most bands, I think, say around our level, or I don't know, someone just starting, is you go to a studio and just because you haven't got that much money or whatever it is, you sort of try and nail down a tune in sometimes one day, maybe max you're looking at doing it in 3 days, but it's you're not really getting into each individual part. Say like my guitar rhythm, you're not really deep diving that and going, is that really the best thing? Or Arthur's like, once you spend the time with it, that's what Tim does. He came in, he listened to us, he said, really like your stuff, I want to work with you, but you got to slow down. And he just sent us away, said, I'm not going to record you, I'm going to send you away, basically with the stems of the stuff that we did, and basically look at every individual part, play the drums and the singing together, play my guitar and Chris's guitar together, does it match as good as it can do? And that's, I think, is like been the main thing with him. He's like, just slow down, you don't have to, we're not trying to nail this out in 3 days. And then I think it takes a longer time, obviously, but I do think you get a better product for it and a better knowledge. And then you work quicker the next time anyway, because you know what you're supposed to do.
It sounds a bit silly, but like it's almost like a sort of spiritual thing.
Yeah.
Where I think he got us to listen to each other more and question each other in a constructive way. And he sent us away and said, make these better. And half the process was he just got us to sit down and actually listen to what we were doing. It just makes you think a bit more than you might do.
It kind of makes you do the work, even if he's trying to get you to go down an avenue. He'll sort of guide you in the path, but he's like a therapist almost. Like when they're sort of like they're trying to get you to a place by using leading questions. He's kind of a bit like that.
Yeah. It's like the amount of takes as well, and he encourages to do like daft takes, and he'll encourage you to do really serious like metronomic takes, and then others where he's just like, I want you to play, for me on the bass, it's like, I want you to play a completely different bass line to what you've been recording this whole time. And he'll take takes from each bit, and he'll put microphones in the opposite side of the room, and he'll use the talkback, we'll record the talkback mics the whole time, so if it picks up anything off that as well, it's just like tuning the drums to the key of the song as well, which is a bit of a mad thing.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, now to wait.
Well, it's sounding great. The new tune, Headshot, is sounding great. It's off the new EP, Game Alive, which is a cracking follow-up to Music Is My Madness, which is the last EP. So really looking forward to hear what comes next. If people listening to Freshly Squeezed, they want to check out the original version of Headshot, the released version, you can find the link in the podcast notes. You can click below there to listen to that. But right now, I am excited for this. The Cavs Stripped Back in session, an exclusive for Freshly Squeezed. New tune, Headshot.
Hit 'em with a headshot, 'cause you might miss the next one. You keep all of your hatred in a glass jar, by your bed, by the loaded gun. As the sixth sun's setting, you keep on forgetting that I'll be inside your head, forcing you to run. And I've heard that people don't change. So I've gone my own way. I gave you the keys to my heart. Gave you the keys to my heart. But you melted them down to forge your own chains. How are you going to find out about all the things I'm saying that you don't know about? Everything was alright, but now it's black. I got you back. You damn near suffered from a heart attack. Hit 'em with a headshot, 'cause you might miss the next one. You keep all of your hatred in a glass jar, by your bed, by the loaded gun. As the sixth sun setting, you keep on forgetting that I'll be inside your head, forcing you to run.
How cool is that? An exclusive from Cavs, a stripped back version of their new tune, Headshot. Just because you listen to the Freshly Squeezed podcast, more of that to come, more of that stuff in the future. So make sure you are subscribed to this podcast. Make sure you're following, because you will get the first heads up when we do stuff like that. One final band to feature on today's episode, and that is the band Deadb3at. How do, boys? Welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Yep, all good, mate. It's Friday, the best day of the week for some, so all good. The sun's out. Yeah, it is.
Good stuff. So I need to point out that if listeners are looking for Deadb3at's tunes, the second E in the word Deadb3at is a numeric number 3. You know what you've done here, lads, don't you? You know that every interview between now and the end of time, you are going to be explaining the decision that you've put a 3 in your name.
Of course, mate. I mean, we don't actually know why. I think it's just so it looks a bit better. We like numbers because of Blink-182 and stuff, so having a number somewheres.
I think it was mainly the other bands as well. Like, the other band's called Deadb3at.
Yeah, there was another artist. I don't think it was a band called Deadb3at without it, and I was like, yeah, well, we're not changing the name, so let's just do that instead. And then there's 3 of us in the band, so that kind of makes sense for that as well, I guess.
I was going to say, I assume that was the case because there are 3 of you in the band. The 3 of you are all from Yorkshire area and originally from other bands that were kind of doing the circuit as well. Because of that, from what I've heard, I guess you could say Deadb3at as an entity has kind of been 15 years in the making because of how long you've known each other for.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's crazy that we've actually all come together and joined a band, to be fair with you. Like, we used to play the same gigs. We didn't know each other, but we'd play the same gigs in different bands. And it's only to, like, recently we're like, oh, yeah, we played that gig as well. And it's like, yeah, so we played the same stage like 15 years ago on the same day, which is crazy, really, when I think about it. But, I mean, I knew who Chris was and Jamie anyway, and I don't think Chris knew any of we were, but we knew Chris. Yeah. So.
Having kind of knocked around on the same scene for 15 years, does it feel like this project is like the final form, like it's all come together to meet this point?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we've said that, haven't we, already?
Yeah,
that
it feels different.
This is probably, we're in his 30s now, so it's like, well, we want to do a really good one and see where it goes. And I think it's took this long to really fully understand songwriting to where I want it and actually writing lyrics and stuff in a certain way. I think it's taken this long to actually be happy with what we're really putting out as well.
Yeah.
You mentioned a couple of your influences earlier, Sum 41, Blink-182. It's kind of that punk pop thing, and I don't think it's too controversial to say that punk pop is not the most fashionable of genres at the moment. You just don't hear a lot of it at all. Have you found that's been a bit of a barrier for you, or have you found that actually you're carving out a little bit of a niche?
Yeah, I mean, the market isn't absolutely insane. But, I mean, all of our favourite bands play sold-out shows all the time. So where we don't think we'll probably get as big as them, hopefully we can get as big as where we're selling out smaller venues to everyone who sort of knows the lyrics, because there is still a market there. It's just not as big as, like, indie music or something like that. But it is still there, and I think it has its peak moments where it gets really popular and then it sort of dives off a bit and comes back. But I think there's always a way of getting people to like it. I think if you're writing the right songs, I think anyone could like that genre of music. Some people just don't know it yet.
So what are the audiences like? Are there new people coming into enjoying this type of music, or does it tend to be the people who remember it from the late 90s and the early noughties when it was more in vogue?
I think quite a bit of both, to be honest. Okay. Quite a few people we know who are into that music anyway love it. And then we've also had so many people who don't listen to that music normally. They're like, I don't normally like that type of music, but I like you guys. And we've had that quite a lot, which is kind of what we're aiming for anyway, because like you said, the market's quite small. We're trying to get the market that doesn't like it to like it as well, to help our audience, I guess.
Well, on the topic of genres, I'd like to invite you into my Mind HMV before I leave. So Sherlock Holmes has got his Mind Palace. I have a Mind HMV. It's like a mental record store. I keep and categorise music. So if you just walk this way into my Mind HMV.
No, sounds great. Off we go.
Here we go. So do you like it? It's cool, right?
It's better than I expected.
It smells better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
You must have had very low expectations. So the last band that were in here were bar staff, and they left it in a right mess. So please don't touch anything when you do leave the Mind HMV. But the important thing is we need to put your record somewhere in this shop. So we need to put Messed Up somewhere on the shelves, and you get to choose exactly where it's going to go. First thing we need to do, we need to pick a genre. Now, every genre is covered in my mind HMV. Over there in the corner you can see there's Peruvian nasal panpipe rock. That's over there in back left. Over there's Zimbabwean buttock flute waltz. So there's the range of things you have to choose between. What genre are we putting this record in?
Well, it's got to be really straight pop punk, I would assume. I suppose you can say alternative for the darker song, like the other single we brought out, Bloodstains, is more of a raw punk sound, but I think we are all really about pure pop punk, which would be like our favourite bands, because we like the joyful sound of it, and turning, a bad situation into a happy sound that makes you feel better about something that bad that's happened, really. That's kind of what it does for
therapy.
me.
Yeah.
Yes, therapy, exactly.
Cool, well, we'll bang it in the punk pop section then. The next thing we need to do, you might have answered this already, but we'll see. We need to put it on a shelf next to some other records. Now, we don't organise the records alphabetically in my mind HMV. It's organised by inspiration. So over there you got Editors, they're next to Interpol. Over there you got LCD Sound System, they're next to New Order. So you need to pick 2 artists that you want your tune to sit between. Who are you going for?
I would say Blink-182.
Yeah, I would also, if he was going to say Blink-182, I would probably have to say maybe The Story So Far.
Okay.
The Story So Far, Sum 41 between those two, because I think the music's got a fine bit of each of those bands put into it.
Nice, we'll pop it on the shelf there. Lads, feel free to look around. I've got to go, but you can stay here as long as you want. Lovely to speak to you on Freshly Squeezed, and really good luck with the brand new tune Messed Up, which we're going to play now on the Freshly Squeezed podcast. Boys, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Jim.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks for having us, mate.
I know I messed up, and now it's all done. I keep telling myself that it's not my fault, and now we're odds black. I know it won't last. There's no chance when you act like that. I better go.
Final tune on today's Freshly Squeezed, a new music podcast, is that from Deadb3at. It's called Messed Up. I loved today's episode. I hope you did as well, but I absolutely loved it. If you like this, you're going to like the episodes we've done so far, so delve into the back catalogue, see the brilliant bands that have featured already. There is a depth of new music for you to get stuck into, and there is a depth of new music to come as well. Follow the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, make sure you never miss an episode. If you've got a recommendation for a band that you think we need to feature, get in the comments on Spotify, leave a review on Apple, 5-star review, natch. Give me some suggestions, let me know what bands you fancy hearing from, or you can get me on Twitter, Mr_Jim Bob over there. Cheers for your ears for listening, thanks for getting involved, and I'll see you on the next one.
Freshly Squeezed, a new music podcast, was devised, produced and hosted by Jim Salveson. Sound design and additional production by Ant McGinley, with thanks to our San Diego news anchor, Kieran Sword. The music, Blue Blazer, is written and produced by Spin Class.
All right then.